Today on the podcast, you'll hear my interview with Suzanne Chasalow, a horn player, a holistic nutrition consultant, and a transformational workshop leader. Suzanne Chasalow has really had a true portfolio career, a professional horn player. She has a business as a nutrition consultant, and she is opening a new program called Stepping into the Limelight, about helping people, especially women in orchestral settings, to be their most authentic selves, to be their most authentic selves on stage, to be freer, to move past imposter syndrome and drama. This is a sorely needed topic. And I really enjoyed talking with Suzanne, and I know you will love this episode. Suzanne Chasalow, welcome to Crushing Classical.
Hi, Jennet. Thank you.
I am so excited to talk with you today about your own journey from being a professional horn player through being a certified nutrition and health consultant, and now into the world of transformational coaching. I can't wait to hear how all of this came to be. Could we just start by having you introduce yourself to the listeners and tell a little bit of the story that brings us to where we are right now in your career?
Yeah, sure. Where to start? I've been playing the horn since I was 10. I fell in love with the sound and the feeling and just having it as a way to express myself while I was going through some really tough times in my life. Just at the same time that started, some difficult things. And the horn gave me a place to have a voice. And I was successful right away. I got a lot of attention for it, all the things, and I had a sense of community built in, friendships. It was a beautiful place. And what I found is as I went on to conservatories and to get my master's doing this, I just would keep running into performance anxiety and struggles. And I knew what I could do. And I got all this amazing feedback, great teachers, opportunities, so many opportunities over the years. And there was just part of me that would not be able to fully let go. Really and I would sit there and watch soloists and listen to other people in the orchestra. And there was part of me that always was just like, oh, I can't really do this. I'm a fraud. Like so many people feel that, right?
So relatable, yeah.
And watching like what makes them tick. So that was always the question in my mind. What is the difference between what they're doing and what I'm able to do from here? I know I have the abilities. So I'm kind of getting forward. I'm getting ahead of myself and introduce myself. But that's where I started. And I've always been a mover, a dancer, studied yoga for 40 years. So the somatic pieces have helped me a lot come back into my body. I've studied Alexander technique, everything out there, Feldenkrais somatic practices. And I love it. That helps me come back into my body and helps me play my horn. So at some point along the way, I even created a course called Playing with Ease. Your body is your instrument. And I just love this piece. And then I've always been fascinated by the body as the instrument and how we're athletes. And I don't feel like that gets addressed enough in music training.
Yeah.
How much? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, let me jump in on this right now, because you're right. We don't talk nearly enough. Like we intellectualize what music making can be so often. We're like, okay, where does this crescendo begin? Exactly what is happening here? And that feeling of dropping into your body and just trusting what it can do and what it knows how to do is something that I don't ever remember being trained in. Sorry, I got excited as you were at this moment in the story and I interrupted.
No, so I've had a long time vision of going and teaching, that helping people find this place, integrating the body with the music, feeling it in your cells, and just really feeling the uniqueness of what each one of us has to offer. And I'll get more into that later. But I, it feels so important. And we look at sports nutrition and body, just looking at the body in sports. This is a sport. So I started from a nutritional standpoint. And so in 2020, when I wasn't working,
Mm-hmm.
as all of us were off stage, I went back and did a program that I'd wanted to do for a long time at a school called Bowman College for nutrition. It was a 15-month online program. And then they also have a chef program that's amazing. And then I got hired to stay on, and I worked there for 2.5 years, teaching other students, helping. And this has been a really important piece for me, really looking at health and energy and how we keep ourselves really in tip-top shape as performers.
That's
And
that's
it's
amazing, and
not,
it's so important. And it's so important. Like I
yes,
think about like the kinds of foods that we eat as we like freeway philharmonic our way from one gig to the next gig to the next gig to the hangout after the gig. Like it is so often just like what we can get our hands on quickly and what is affordable and what is cheap. And I think that you are saying that what we put in our body helps to optimize our athletic body for our music making. And who
it
thinks about
really,
that?
yes, and it matters a lot to our like cell structure, to our nervous system. And it's not just about the food, but about reducing stress. And when we're on the road and we're like eating on the road, we're not digesting well. There's so many pieces to that. You want to eat in a relaxed state. And it's about, are we getting enough sleep? Because that's super important. Are we moving our bodies? Are we connecting with other people? Are we saying what is true to us? All the pieces of wellness. So that is what I'm addressing in that piece of my work. And I feel like it's crucially important and under
Mhm.
addressed.
Amazing. So, like within your portfolio of activities, you are still active as a nutrition consultant. Like you actively work with people, like one to one or in groups, or what is the structure of that work that you do?
Up until this point, I've been doing one-on-one. Everybody's different. What works for one person doesn't work for anyone else. There's no, one size fits all. And so I work one-on-one and um, help people. I look at their entire health history, help people come back, address symptoms of, stress, overuse, injuries, digestive issues, whatever they're looking at. I've had
Mhm.
a recent client who his kidneys started failing, and it was because of something else, but a long history of being on the road and not treating his body well. And so we had to start, really getting to what underneath was going on and help him get back to health so he could continue to play at the level he was playing at.
Amazing. Amazing. So, does does this piece, this nutrition and movement and embodiment piece, like answer the question that you had been struggling with as a younger person? Like, what is it that the soloists are doing that I am not? How can I, why can't I let go and be like my musical self on stage?
Not entirely. So that brings me to what I'm doing now, the workshop I've created
Tell me
that
more.
is coming out. The first iteration of it is just coming out,
Hmm.
and that's bringing these pieces together with a deeper sense of how to be your authentic self.
Hmm.
And really, it is bringing those pieces in because we look at how we hold ourselves in the world, in our bodies. What's stuck in there comes from, looking at how we hold traumas as well. And so there's three pieces to the work that I do. One is just really learning to speak. So this is in a group setting. This is not
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one because I feel like um, being in a community is really healing and takes a lot of shame away. So one of the things that happened for me when I was on stage thinking about these things, I wasn't sharing it. I wasn't talking to other musicians very much about their experiences. And I was feeling this like, oh my God, I feel this, but it's so shameful. I should be able to just play my best. I should be able to do this. And nobody else is feeling this way. Look how they're doing so well. And, that's not true,
Of course.
right?
Is it remotely, possibly remotely true that no one else is having feelings of inadequacy as they are playing their instruments on stage? Of course not.
Right. How ridiculous is that? But that's where I was coming from. So, and
Sure.
I would talk to certain people about it, but not very much. So I've created this container called Stepping into the Limelight. That's the first piece we address. Is we're doing this together. What is your deepest truth? How do you speak that? Can I create a safe space for people to really speak that and trust themselves? And then we go into the body, how to have more ease in your body and practices around that. And then the third piece um, is trusting yourself, claiming yourself as an expert, because this is the question I woke up with this morning. How can I just personally really trust myself and stop looking outside of myself for validation? And here we are, performers. We love that validation, right? The audience clapping, being told. But when we look outside of ourselves for validation, we're looking to teachers and mentors. That can get us into trouble because we
Because
put people on pedestals.
Of course, because that's the way we were trained. We come up through conservatory, we come up through college, we come up through youth orchestras, and we are constantly comparing ourselves to other people or being compared to other people because we have chair auditions and seating
Yes.
auditions and challenges. I'm thinking about like my high school career. Um, and it is always somebody else, somebody from on high telling us, like, yes, you are now good enough to sit in the second chair instead of the fourth chair. You are now good enough to sit in the first chair. But like, oh no, no, you're not good enough yet. Like, these are messages that were given for the longest time. And, you know, I feel like I'm only recently in the last 5 years looking around and saying, wait a minute, it's me. I'm the one who gets to say if I'm good enough to do this thing.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And we all have our own level of expertise. Every single one of us. When we can start to really believe that, then we can start to be our authentic selves on stage without worrying about what the audience is thinking.
What a delightful idea. What a lovely idea. And like, I've been on this journey for a while. But I can remember myself 10 years ago, 8 years ago, like still sort of waiting to be chosen and hoping to be good enough to be selected to get to do the thing. And what where do you start with someone who is like still so deeply inside this, well, that activity, that experience is for the soloists, that's for the first chair players, that's for the like really good players, not for me. Where do you start with someone who hasn't yet started? that journey? Does that make sense as a question?
Who hasn't yet started uh, which piece?
Thinking of themselves as an expert in in whatever their field is.
Um, well, as we gain expertise in things, of course, we need to do the work. We need to. So I'm talking about people who already really clearly do have an expertise, who have put the time in. For musicians, you're practicing, you're spending time with your instrument. Um, but sometimes that's not always efficient, the way we do that as well. That's a whole other topic. Um,
And that
and
certainly goes to the physical ease and like the body awareness,
yes,
right? Mhm.
exactly. So we start there. Uh, with any change, as a coach, the small steps. It takes time. Or as a musician, we work on the smallest pieces. We all have these skills as musicians to work on these little tiny pieces and build as we learn something. And there's a lot of joy in that. I love taking things apart and putting them back together and then seeing what happens, or seeing a student light up as they find that place too. So I guess what I would answer that question with is, we start from where they're at. I, there's no big answer. We
Yeah.
start from where you are, and help you build the trust in yourself.
Yeah. That's that's it. Um the game of having made enough mistakes and solved them and come out on the other side of them, whether that's like the mistakes that you make in your own practice room and discern how to overcome, or whether those are the mistakes that you make on stage and have to like sit in a pool of shame for a little while and find your way back out.
Can we have a conversation about that?
Could we?
Oh, about the mistake making. I think that's one of the pieces um, that we struggle with, because we're told to be perfect. Where this
Sure.
whole training is not to make mistakes. And I play the horn.
How can I claim expertise when I made a mistake in my last concert?
Yeah,
How can I claim expertise if one of my notes went as I
yeah,
was playing?
yeah.
And how can
And
you?
yeah, how do you get past that? I don't know if I have an answer to that question, but to allowing ourselves to be imperfect, yes. And that's what we see in reflections with other people. That's why I'm doing group work, is so people can see that we're all imperfect and start to really accept themselves. And then, I've always thought it was so interesting that there's this dichotomy between trying to be perfect, and that whole trying actually makes you make mistakes, right? The more you can just have that freedom to play, the less mistakes you make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think I speak sometimes with my groups about the metaphor of a really brilliant orator or a really great public speaker. And if you've had the experience of like being in that energy and listening to someone like really share some value, you don't notice actually if they've got like a little frog in their throat or if they misspeak slightly and then correct themselves. It's not that you don't notice those things, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away
Yes,
from the experience, the communication that you're receiving and the energy that they are sharing.
yes,
And why should it be different
yes,
because we are playing an instrument with buttons?
yes. And it truly is not different. when we're, because the audience, what they want, what the listener wants is they want us. They want our full, we're giving them permission to express themselves. They want to come and see this wild passion or this tender, beautiful sensitivity that they might not get to express in their lives.
Yeah.
We're giving them a gift, and that's the permission. And the more we can do that, the more we show ourselves, the more they can see that and have that gift. We're here to do that. Why do we hold ourselves back?
Yes. Yes. And this goes back to one of your very first statements about sitting on stage and being sort of unable to let go of the overthinking. I'm putting words in your mouth now. To be unable to like let go and just be in the music. And that's what you're talking about. That's what you're offering people.
Yes, exactly. I can see your body just relaxing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just such a beautiful statement. And it's applicable to everyone, right? Like musicians, string players, singers, wind players, like it doesn't matter because
Right.
really the game is physical and psychological.
Yes. Yeah, there's many levels.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Suzanne, is there something that you would like to, anything that you would like to share here that I haven't made space for in this conversation?
I do. I feel like there's a lot happening in the orchestral world right now, coming to terms with the old structure and wanting to make changes, wanting to create more equity in gender and equity in race and maybe in the kinds of music we even play or the way we present ourselves to the audience. And I feel like that's those of us from the inside who can start to make a difference, start to address this by, like, I'm right now, I'm just going to be working with women because I feel like I want to help women have more of a presence on stage and trust themselves more. And we as women tend to give a lot to other people and not always trust our own instincts. So I feel like it's the perfect timing for this to be happening in a world in chaos and in the orchestral world as things are getting coming out into the light.
Yeah, that is so powerful. And like it strikes me so much, we're all following all of this drama that is happening in the classical music world and in the orchestral world, and we're following the we're like we know that these abuses, these inequities are happening. We know it because of Catherine Needleman's Facebook page, right? And the way
Right.
she is absolutely bravely um, pointing to the numbers and pointing to the problems and pointing to the inequities. And she's been doing this for years now. And even now, I know people who are like, yeah, I'm reading it, but I wouldn't comment. I wouldn't like it because to be one of 300 anonymous likes on the post still feels too dangerous. People have said that to me. And yes, if we from within can empower women to a play more freely and play more confidently and be able to use their instrumental voice with greater leadership and strength, and then to use their actual voice and step into leadership in the ways that Catherine is doing, that Laura St. John is doing, that you are doing. Like, if we can empower people, women, to take those steps and be more bold. And could I be more bold? I could also be more bold, right? Like, we need this.
Yes, we do. And there are different ways to do it. And the way I'm approaching it is through more connection. There's power in that, and people will come towards you in that. And then there's an opportunity for healing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for your work, and thank you for this beautiful conversation. Where do people find you, and where do they sign up for the work that you're doing?
They can find my website, which is nourishingvibrance.com. They can find me there for nutrition. And my workshop isn't yet on that website, but it's on my Facebook page. So they can come find me on Facebook just under my name, Suzanne Chasalow, on Facebook. And it's advertised there, and I will post it again. And it's a free workshop. People can come. I believe the date will be May 1st, but I'll have to confirm that. That'll be on the Facebook page. And I'm going to link that workshop into my web page as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.